Hey, how you doing? This is your girl Tysheen. I'm back. I'm back. How you doing? How you feeling? I hope you're doing great. So I'm gonna react to the UK's weirdest political traditions. So let's get straight to it, because I'm curious.
This video is brought to you by Nebula. The UK is a pretty weird place. You need a license to watch TV. The monarch owns all the swans. There's a place called Bart.
Oh yes, y'all need a license to watch TV? I'm trying to remember. I think I heard something like that in a video that I react to a long time ago. You gotta pay. You gotta pay. I think you gotta pay to watch TV, right? Or something like that.
In the beans, and this guy runs an online news network. This weirdness, though, extends also to our political system, with a number of quirks from hundreds of years ago persisting to this very day. So in this video, we're going to have a look through a few of these, explaining how they came about and how they still function today. Before we start, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing and ringing the bell to stay in the loop and be notified when we release new videos. Much of the weirdness in our political traditions comes from the simple fact that our system is truly just very, very old. Our political system has developed slowly since around the 13th century, when barons and knights advised the monarch to the system that we know today. With this, practices and traditions developed, and while some of the more important ones have been modernised to work in the 21st century...
I couldn't tell you the last time I've been to a art museum or any type of museum, or just to look at the artworks and the statues and the paintings and all that stuff. I just love it. Like, back then, people were so creative, and they took their time. You know, it's not like today, you know. I'm not saying that there's no artists like that today, but the ones back then, like the stuff that they made is so amazing. Like, just everything, the architect, every detail. Like, look at this.
Some have been kept as is. And to be fair, it's easy to understand why. If these traditions and practices aren't too important, then the weirdness of them gives the Westminster system a bit of charm, while also reflecting its long history. So let's get into some of the weird political traditions an MP might come across on a typical day in Parliament. Now, starting the day, an MP might decide to go to the cloakroom. It's the UK after all, and the vast likelihood is that it's been raining. Upon hanging up their coat, they might notice a small ribbon. Now, this isn't purely decorative. It's actually there for an MP to hang their swords up. After all, it's well known that MPs aren't allowed to bring their swords into the House of Commons. There's even a rumour that the lines that MPs must stand behind when debating the House of Commons chamber are deliberately designed to be 2 sword lengths apart, in order to prevent particularly aggressive parliamentarians from resorting to duelling. However, some actually think this theory is unlikely because, as we stated earlier, swords are banned and have been in the House of Commons for centuries. Anyway, once the business of swords is dealt with, an MP might decide that the next best thing to do is source some snuff. As most of our viewers were born in either the 20th or 21st century and not the 18th or 19th, it's likely that many of you don't actually know what snuff is.
No.
Effectively, it's a form of tobacco that's snorted rather than smoked.
Wait, they were doing that back then? I mean, people are still doing that today? Sniffing it? I know they were smoking it, but sniffing? Whoa.
This was introduced in Parliament in 1694, when smoking was banned in the Commons. As such, a doorkeeper ensures that the so-called parliamentary...
I know back then they also, not just smoking, but I think some of them used to, or maybe I'm getting it mixed up. I know they used to chew it. I remember hearing that they used to chew it. Or am I getting it mixed up with something else? Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. I could have sworn they was chewing it. Not just smoking, but they were chewing it too. Maybe I'm getting something else wrong.
Snuff box is always stocked with snuff from a local tobacconist. The current box was created in 1943 from a door frame that was blown apart by a German bomb, and has had inscribed on the lid all of the principal doorkeepers since its creation. However, despite its fancy design, if our hypothetical MP were to take up their entitlement to free snuff, this would make them the first MP to do so in decades. A Freedom of Information request from 2010 found that the last time an MP used the box was all the way back in 1989. So perhaps our MP will give snuff a miss and instead make their way to the green benches so that they can start doing the work of representing the constituents that elected them. Now, if they want to guarantee themselves a space on the famous green benches that day, then they'll need to reserve a seat, because despite there being 650 elected MPs, the benches can actually only seat 427 of them. This design, along with the fact that the benches are designed to be facing each other, deliberately makes the chamber seem more full, more heated, and more adversarial.
Somebody said, "Go get your sword." Oh, so okay, that's very smart. Whoever designed this, that's very smart. Very, very smart. Wow.
There was a moment when this could have been changed, though. As we mentioned more offhandedly than we probably should have earlier, the House of Commons was hit by a German bomb during the Second World War and was set to be rebuilt. The then Prime Minister, Winston Churchill, had the option to change the design of the chamber and make it less adversarial, perhaps by making it bigger and opting for a semicircular design, something that parliaments around the world were adopting at the time. He decided not to.
So that's him? Wait, that statue supposed to be him?
Pretty much as it used to be. So MPs still have to cram into the chamber. But how would our MP reserve their seat? Well, they do this by attending morning prayers and filling out a prayer card. This is one of the only ways to reserve a seat, and can be important on days when high-profile debates are scheduled. Regardless, assuming that our MP does get a seat booked, they may go off to their parliamentary office to get some constituency work done while they wait for their debate. Their office may be located in the Palace of Westminster or the adjacent Portcullis House, which is attached to the palace via an underground tunnel that goes under the road. If this is the case, then our MP needs to be informed of any votes happening in the chamber, so that they can rush back in time for their vote to be counted. Lucky for them, around the whole parliamentary estate, bells and TVs are installed that light up and inform members that their presence is required in the chamber. These bells were even installed in popular pubs, such as the Red Lion around Westminster, just in case MPs had slunk off for a cheeky mid-afternoon pint. Many of these now, though, don't work. So our MP has at least some reminders of votes, but it's worth remembering that these votes only happen when Parliament is in session. Parliament often closes for a number of weeks through the year, with the recess dates aligning roughly with school holidays. It's also closed, though, for the period of prorogation, which is officially the period between the end of a parliamentary session and the King's Speech, which officially starts the next parliamentary session. Now, the King's Speech is a pretty unique event. Essentially, the monarch sits in the House of Lords and reads a speech written by the government, announcing their policies for the next session. This is one of the only situations where MPs are allowed to sit in the House of Lords, but can only do so after being invited. This is when one of the weirdest parts of the day happens. In essence, a person with the title of Black Rod, who is responsible for controlling
Sarah Clark. They did a lot of changes though. So the seats are not green anymore, it's red. Still look nice though. Wow.
Access to the House of Lords goes to the House of Commons chamber to summon MPs for the speech.
Wait.
As they get to the door is deliberately slammed in their face, which is done to symbolise the Commons' independence. As with many things listed in this video.
That's kind of weird. Damn. Slammed the door right in my face.
It probably isn't essential to the day-to-day functioning of Parliament, but it has become an iconic quirk in the British political system. But what do you think? Are these the weirdest political processes and traditions? Have we missed anything big? Let us know in the comments below.
Wow. You know what they always say, you learn every day. You learn every day. Okay, it's never too late to learn. Okay. All right, y'all. So let me know how you feel about this one. What's your thoughts on this one? Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Anything I need to know? Just comment below. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. And I'll see y'all later. Y'all take care. Bye and peace.